This is Jackie with All Access, and I'm here with Matty from Ford today, and we are here at Scranton's Warped Tour. Um, in February, your album Fight the Silence came out. Describe the writing process of that album for us.
Well, we have our bass player and our lead guitar player, Ryan and Brandon Latrue, are they're kind of the musical guys in the band. So they'll get together and say, hey, we have this idea or whatever, and they'll kind of crank out some songs just on the computer and email them to everybody else. And then everybody comes back with, this part kind of sucks, let's get rid of that part. Or this part is awesome, let's do more of that, And then especially David, the drummer, he'll come in and say, all right, I want to change the drums and do this in this place. And so then everybody sort of puts their touch on it. And when they send out that pre-production first version of songs, then I start kind of working on lyrics. And then I guess we sort of put together the best product that we can, and then we go into the studio, and Will Putney, our producer, kind of does the whole thing over again. He's like, this part sucks. None of you guys were smart enough to catch it, but this part sucks, or this part is good, or whatever. So it has to sort of go through the ringer 2 or 3 times before it actually makes it on the album. But I think the overall, the finished product is better for it. But it's kind of everybody coming up with ideas, and then everybody else saying, this idea is cool, this idea sucks, and sort of just keeping the cream of the crop,
Were there any specific events or people or things that influenced your lyrics?
Yeah, big time. I mean, being a Christian, people have always told me to write about what I know, so I write about Christ, and especially on this last album, we have a lot of songs that as far as my lyrics were concerned, were very personal. I wrote a song called Fatherless that was about growing up without a dad. My father died of cancer when I was 8, and so I wrote a song about that. We wrote a song called A Call to Arms that is about the issue of poverty and how people relate to that, how poverty affects our world. The title track of the album is called Fight the Silence. That song is about human trafficking, and I wrote that for the sake of raising awareness and money for the issue of human trafficking, or to help fight human trafficking. And I guess every song kind of has a different topic, and I'm always sort of keeping my eyes open for inspiration or something that would kind of spark that thing. I guess spark that sort of creative fire that would then turn into a song. So yeah, really every song on the album is about a different topic or a different subject that inspired me in one way or the other.
It's good to have that variety. I think in music in general, but especially certain genres, it's about love or the loss of love, and so it's nice to have some new ideas in there, which is really great. Tell me about your collaboration with another friend of mine, Matty Mullins.
Oh yeah, he's the worst. He's the worst dude. Just kidding. We did Warped Tour together 2 years ago is when we all met. And then right after that, they came out with us on the Fight the Silence tour about 1.5 years ago, and we've been good friends ever since. So we keep in touch a lot. And when we were writing the album, I thought, maybe we could get someone else to do something in a song, and he was the first person to pop into my mind. He's actually the only person we asked to do anything on this album. We've had a lot of guest vocal spots on previous albums, but this one I was like, let's just get Matty to do it. He's our buddy. I think he's a great vocalist, so it was kind of a no-brainer.
You guys have a lot in common, just, your belief system, your name. Yeah, I mean, the name, I wasn't even going to go that obvious, but I mean, your belief system, your morals, sounds not identical, but, so he could definitely do it too, which is cool. On Warped Tour, there's a ton of photographers taking snapshots of your sets. What do you think is attributed to this popularity of sort of the live action photos? I don't think it was as prevalent in a few years ago. Do you have a photographer that you prefer?
Well, we bring a guy named Ray Duker. We bring him out on tour with us because he's incredible. One of the best live photographers I've ever seen. And I don't say this to offend any photographers. I asked Ray, how did you get into photography? And his answer was, well, I really wanted to play music and go on tour, but I'm not very good at music. So I thought people might take me on tour to take pictures. And he said that seemed to work, so that's what I'm doing. and I don't. This may be like a mean thing to say, but I think that people just kind of wanted to be a part. A lot of people want to be a part of the Warped Tour community, and they love the energy of live music and the excitement of this world. And maybe they don't want to play music or can't play music or whatever, or maybe they just felt like, instead of being up on stage, I'd rather be taking pictures. I think it's a cooler thing to do. So I think that really the appeal is not necessarily maybe the music, but just the culture that music brings together. The diverse types of people and the creative types of people. I think that's a place where photographers and musicians and tattoo artists and you name it, tend to flourish. And so if there's an open door for photographers to come to Warped Tour for free and get to take pictures of bands that they would want to watch anyway, then why not? I think that's a great idea.
Thanks to Instagram for being such a great vehicle to share that out with. And I mentioned, I sort of touched on it very briefly when we were talking about Matty before, about being in a similar genre. The hardcore scene, or the post-hardcore scene, or whatever you want to call it now, is starting to get a bit oversaturated. How do you make sure, or a lot, how do you make sure that you guys stand out not only in this scene but also for Warped Tour fans?
If you crack the code to that, let me know. That's kind of the eternal struggle, is trying to be different enough that people will notice you while not being so different that people will not take you seriously. It's kind of a weird tightrope walk all the time, but I think the thing that sets one of the things that sets For Today apart. Obviously, I think we get labeled as that Christian band a lot, which was never really the intention. So, one of the things that I think we sort of really focus on in terms of who we are as a band and how we present ourselves is our live show. We are a remnant of a time in the music industry where bands wouldn't get up on stage and pose and wink at girls. We started playing when there were bands like The Devil Wears Prada breaking guitars and setting cabs on, I'm sorry, I said The Devil Wears Prada. I meant to say Norma Jean. Us and The Devil Wears Prada both sort of came out of a genre or a time when the crazier a band went on stage, the more people would want to see them. Bands like Norma Jean and the Chariot, or even like Me Without You, or whoever, even Under Oath a long time ago. These are bands that were just losing their minds on stage, throwing guitars, setting stuff on fire. Dillinger Escape Plan at Hellfest a decade ago. Stuff like that that's what we saw when we were kids and when we were forming these bands, and we were like, that's what we want to do. Yes, I want to jump out into the crowd, and I want to roll around on the ground, and I want to throw stuff and break stuff. So when For Today gets up on stage, it's like 110% from start to finish. We want to throw ourselves, head first into the live show, and we expect the crowd to do the same thing. So, we hope that people, even if they maybe don't like our music or don't necessarily agree with our message, that they'll come and watch our live show and say, well, at the very least, I can say this was an entertaining, high-energy show,
Well, as someone who is not 15, I still appreciate that as well. Speaking of age, you guys have been a band for about 9, almost 10 years. What do you attribute to your longevity?
I don't know. It's funny because it still doesn't feel like we've been a band for that long. I was actually just talking today with the guys from Yellow Card about the fact that I went and watched them play at Warped Tour 10 years ago. And I was just a kid in high school, and I paid a bunch of money to go to Warped Tour and go, oh my God, Yellow Card. And now we're on the same stage at Warped Tour. So I don't know. It doesn't really feel like we've been a band for that long. I still feel like we're just a bunch of kids on a road trip playing music with our friends, and I guess really that's exactly what we are. We're just a bunch of kids on a road trip playing music with our friends. Just now there's a lot of people paying attention, I think really the biggest thing that has helped us is we've never really taken ourselves too seriously. We've never been, maybe it's because I have wives and I have a wife.
You have wives?
We have wives. I have one wife and kids, more than one kid at home. you know, when I go home, I'm not like Matty from For Today, you know.
Not breaking stuff.
Nobody's impressed. Yeah, I'm changing diapers and taking my kids.
You can throw those as far as you want.
Yeah. So, you know, I think that sort of having that home base that keeps us grounded and that reminds us, you know, there may be a lot of people that think you're something, but back here, you know, there's a job to be done and we expect you to do it. You know, that has helped keep us grounded a lot. And so we've never really taken ourselves seriously, never call ourselves rock stars or anything weird like that. You know, we're always out there meeting kids, and I think we're just as excited to be at Warped Tour as anybody that paid money to come and be here, you know.
From rock and roll to diapers. I think that's a good. I think it's good to stay humble. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah. I noticed you've got a ton of beautiful artwork all over the place. Do you go to one tattoo artist, or is it a collection of your travels?
My tattoos are a collection of my travels, although I wish they weren't. Recently, in the last few years, I have a friend named Brad Smith, who's an incredible tattoo artist from Indianapolis. True Grit Inc. He owns a shop called TrueGritInc.com that you can go to. And he does all of my tattoos now. But I have a bunch of tattoos that I got from like backwoods redneck people. I got from a dude. I got like half of this arm done by a guy named Bill out of his apartment who was tattooing illegally. But he was tattooing me for cheap. So I got tattoos until he went to prison, and then I had to stop getting tattoos from him. So, you know, there's a lot of interesting tattoo stories that I have. Some of them are cool stories, some of them are weird stories, but and I guess, you know, I don't regret it, but my tattoos would be a lot cooler looking if I would have just let Brad do them the whole time.
Well, moving forward, there you go.
Yeah, both of my arms and my chest and a lot of my legs are full. Now, Brad can work with whatever's left.
You mentioned earlier, and this has nothing to do with tattoos, and it's a bad segue, but I'm going there anyway. Fight the Silence talks about a lot of different issues, and our website, Inthekeyofchange, merges music with the social causes and charities that bands support. Are there a couple of charities that you are either working with, have worked with, or would like to work with in the future?
Yeah, we did work with the A21 campaign. They are an anti-human trafficking organization. I keep saying in interviews they are a human trafficking organization, which is the opposite of the kind of people we want to work with. They're an anti-human trafficking organization. They do a lot of stuff, especially in Europe, but it's a global organization, which is great. So we sort of hooked up with them, and they helped provide some of the stories that we used in the music video for our song "Fight the Silence." That song tells the real stories of 3 girls that were victims of human trafficking, and so the A21 campaign helped get us those stories and helped get us connected with ways to sort of practically fight the issue. And so we've been giving them money. They get a portion of the proceeds from the album sales. They also, we link from the music video for Fight the Silence straight to the A21 campaign. So people are getting connected there and hopefully joining up as interns and donating and helping make a real difference. So we've been working with them for, I guess, the better part of a year now. And I think at that point, I think at this point that's the only organization that we have like an ongoing relationship with. We've done a number of things with like anti-bullying organizations and poverty stuff and whatever, but as far as like an ongoing relationship, I think the A21 campaign is really the only organization that we've been working with for a while now.
And so what's up next for you guys after Warped Tour?
I don't know. It's a secret. Okay, I'll give you a hint. So we're doing a fall tour, and it may or may not be with a band that has the word Romans in their name. But that could be anyone. So don't consider that an announcement or anything. I can't tell you who it really is, but that should narrow it down a little bit.
Fair enough. That's a good way to go. So stay tuned for more from For Today. This is Jackie with All Access and In the Key of Change.